Do you think any of them, I mean, here's what I also gleaned from your book, which is that you ask yourself, why did the people around Trump, why did the people in the Republican hierarchies make the decisions that they made?
Yeah.
And the excuses they told themselves about it. And what I found kind of remarkable is the lack of, and I know we're in Washington, we're hard bitten.
Right.
We don't expect our politicians
Right.
to be utopian dreamers all
Sure.
the time. Of
Right.
course not, right?
Yeah.
But the extent of the sheer careerism, that's all that mattered to these people.
Right.
It's as if there wasn't a principle that they recognized. All they did was assess situations in which, am I going to get ahead by this? Am I going to get slammed by this?
Well,
That
there's a
was it.
story they tell themselves that, and they tell it to others, and they've told it to me. And the story is, look, okay, you want me to say Marjorie Taylor Greene, you're a nut job, or Matt Gaetz, you're a craven idiot. I can do that. Then I'm going to get primaried on the right. I'll get the Liz Cheney treatment. You see what happened to her? I mean, as you may say, she's right, but she's also out of a job. And guess what? Now there's an election denier who's taken her place. There will be someone, Matt Gaetz on steroids, who takes my place. Does that serve the institution? Does that serve our interests? The question answers itself. So it's best that I just go to ground, wait for these people to self-immolate, and they're all quietly hoping that this is that moment. But when the moment comes where they have to stand up and proactively say, no MAGA movement, we're not doing this anymore because we're tired of defeat. This is not serving conservative interests to lose cycle after cycle. We'll see if they do that. It's very likely, though, that if they hear from, again, the loudest voices in their caucus, the people who show up to the town halls, the people who are organized to call their switchboards, that they'll say, no, I can't bear it. There's already going to be a primary challenge to me if I say something. I mean, like the lieutenant governor of Virginia had said, we need to move on from Trump. And already on social media, the far right is saying, primary her ass, and maybe she'll stand up to it. Virginia's different than some of these other places, but the reality, Trumpism will not go down without a fight.
Yeah, I'm sure that's correct. It'll be a very interesting fight, don't you think? I mean, the next 2 or 3 years are going to be quite astounding.
Here's one thing already that's interesting. So one guy I keep an eye on is Charlie Kirk, the head of Turning Point USA, the leading, far right youth group for the Republican Party, but his influence really transcends just youth. He's a very influential guy. He's been doing all this, theft stuff. But now, in the wake of Republican losses, you're hearing him saying more and more about, wow, we really screwed up. We didn't get our people out and all that. It's actually the language of reality.
And not only that, but there was on the same podcast that night, there was a woman on that, I can't remember her name.
Wendy Rogers.
Okay, who said it's like we've been talking to ourselves the whole time. We're in an
no
echo
one
chamber.
is more.
Well, that's what I meant about Kurt Schlichter. That's what I meant about Mike Cernovich.
Right.
He lost Ann Coulter a long time ago.
Right.
But when you've lost Cernovich, when you've lost Schlichter, I mean, he hasn't completely lost Schlichter. Schlichter's like, if he runs again, blah, 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 blah. There are lots of caveats, and he's a great president, was a great president, but this is crazy. And the language he uses is that he serves us. He's not, we're not, we don't worship that guy. And that is a real mood change.
It's a mood change, but again, some of these people said this right after January the 6th.
Yeah.
And then they started hearing from the base. And then, they piped down. So we'll see, if Wendy Rogers, who has fanned the flames of all this QAnon stuff for so long, I mean, for a moment, she actually said, what her head said, and what her head told her to say. But we'll see what happens when she hears from her constituents.